Share this. All right. So I'm sharing something already. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. You are all welcome to class. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, hello David.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Good evening. Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Uh,
boss.
how many people is on the call with us? I think this weekend class, they did not turn up for weekend class.
No, I'm not really sure because I could have been seeing different comments from everyone.
Exactly.
But this one I'm not seeing much comment like this.
I can see 8 people now.
Uh,
8. Because by now we expect to have a lot of people in the class.
mm-hmm.
Um, all right. I think we are going to have to wait a little bit for them to come on board.
Yeah, some of them is saying weekend is not so convenient. Not so convenient for everybody, but then just have to
Everybody.
be in class. Just have to be
Let
in class.
We are going to have a class today, like a practical class today. Can you guys see my screen? I want to show
Okay, let,
them.
let me let me let me stop sharing my.
I want to show them a sneak peek of what we are going to be building today. All right, you can stop sharing your screen.
Yeah, I've done that.
All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, maybe it's going to
Okay.
come up.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so this is what we are going to build today. We are going to build. We are going to build a web page, a single web application where you can see posts and you can also create a post. You test the post. Let's create a post, test post, and you add to the body. You create a post, and you add. This is what we have to. This is what we are building. All right. So we're going to learn how to set up the React project, how to create the components, separating the component, and a lot of things. Yeah. Interacting with API because all these things are coming from the API. We are working with what happened? Oh, I've stopped the application. Okay. Mm, all right. Let me restart it. Okay. This is what we're going to work with. So we are calling real-time API. We're interacting with this API that is provided by JSON placeholder. So this is where we are getting the data from. Okay. Um, anyway, I think we have 35 people in the class right now. David, you can go ahead and give us a walkthrough, like a recap on the slide you presented the other time.
Sorry, which slide is that? The React.
Yeah, the slide you shared the other time.
Okay, let me share the slide again.
All right.
So I think this is why I shared the other time. Yeah. It's just like the React slide that they've been working with over. And
Yeah.
we were told there was no class today. Different comments, different people are just coming in. There's class today. There's
Oh,
class today. We didn't have, huh? What is it?
they know that there's class today now.
I know someone is saying we don't know there's class today. Mm, okay, so yeah, it's giving us an overview of what we are going to be doing today. So I believe we are all prepared. I believe we are all prepared to learn some things as well. There's been convention at the camp. Ah, oh, voila. Once there's been convention at the camp. So we are just waiting for more people to join so we can actually start with the UI. Then from there, we are going to go to the other aspects because I'm going to be creating a new application from
Yeah.
scratch so we can work with it.
You have the UI, the code, right?
I'm just looking at maybe I'm just going to create a new UI sort of like
No,
a
I think
new. Yes. You even say, you sent the code to me.
I've sent it now.
Yeah, you
Just
sent the
create,
code to me.
create. I think you have a React existing React app. You can just create a
Yes,
new
I
file.
do.
Yeah.
Okay. I've seen this thing. Okay, everything is inside your app, your JS.
Yes.
Everything inside your app, your JS. Okay. Someone said NPM is not working. This is not the time to discuss NPM is not working. No.
They should have sent group now.
What is it?
I said they should have said all these things in the group.
And the last class we had on Tuesday, we're trying to make sure everybody's we solve people's issue. That was on Tuesday. Hmm. But I think you should post it to the Telegram channel. Please, how many people are you seeing now so we can know when to start?
Okay, let me check. I mean, there are 33 in clan at the moment. We can just go ahead.
Okay,
They can always come back to the video.
so that's true. Let me create. Let me start.
Share your screen and
Yeah, I want to open a new thing for them. Okay. All right. So this is the new page. I'm working with the new page here.
all right.
Okay, cool. Okay, so like we said we are going to start with a new React application today. So the first thing I want to do is I want to set it to the environment where I want to start working. So let me just make this a little bigger. So this is my terminal here. So I just make my terminal bigger so you can all see what I'm doing. So I will sit inside documents, then I will sit inside I think I have a folder called Lita React class. Okay, cool. So if you can look at it very well now, I have two applications here already. So I want to create another application. So I can just give it I can call it classwork. NPX create React app classwork. So I'll just enter. So let's wait for it. So I just pay it faster this time. Okay. Okay. This space faster this time. And also, if you have, I think maybe they can also start asking most of their questions because I guess probably much people didn't join on Tuesday. Maybe actually that's what's happening. That let's all pay attention. We have started the project. Yeah, that's true. And also, if you have questions, please ask now so we can know what to do.
So the project we are going to be building today is going to be a single page application.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Let me just stop this. Let me stop this. Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So let's wait for them. I'm creating a new React application. That's why it's taking much time like this. I'm not even expecting it to take much time this way. Anyway,
Nigeria network now.
I'm expecting it to take long. Ah, yeah. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to class. Welcome to class. Welcome. 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 Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. So we are waiting for a React application, like just to because if I create, if I've created one before the class, it might be like it's because people have done it before. That's why it's working. Because because now I'm building a new one, so we can all see that we built it in class. Then to create
Exactly.
a new React app for each project. I haven't been in class in my phone got problem. Sorry about that.
Just give it time to install.
Yeah, sure, sure. That's why I'm waiting. Obviously, I could have done it before the class, but I want to do it inside the class, so everybody's going to see that this is a new this that we are working on. Thank you. Remember the first thing I did? I went inside the environment where I want to start working. Please, what application are you using? Application as well. I don't get. Please, do you understand the question?
What
What
application are
application?
we?
I knew.
No, we are
eh,
using React now.
no, I don't get me. I don't even understand the question. That's why I asked. Though I didn't understand the question. Oh, since it's taking much time. I don't know. Why it's taking much time. But yeah, if you have like question or something, just like drop it in the comment section. If you have question, just drop it in the comment section. Someone said answer our questions. We are not seeing any question here now. The question I saw here is please what application are we using? And I really don't get the question.
We are
Me
you we are
personally, I
what-
really don't.
we are still on React. We are still on React.
Good evening,
Ah,
sir. This is my first time in class. I got
ah.
the I got
Why
the mail.
this is the first time in
I
class?
don't know what
Yeah, you
I
can
don't know what to
just
say
go
to
to
that.
all the videos on the
Okay,
YouTube and all the
I'll
slide.
wait to install. No, this question. Someone said, "Are we?" Sorry, let me start from the beginning. So the person said, "Or are we to install an extension?" You are not installing any extension here. First, are we to recreate the app? So now what I did here is because I want to start a new project. That's why I'm creating another React app for a new project. That's why I'm creating this application again. I'm creating another application for this project. Are we creating a new folder for npx React? No, I really don't get your question. Or what do you mean by we are creating? Uh, are we creating a new folder for npx? No, you're not creating a folder for npx. To install your load and you have your npm already, you can start using your npx software. You can start using your npx software. You can start using that one. So look, that shows that we have not been creating We see, please, you can see that shows that they did not have many React application. Even after talking about it on Tuesday, that they have at least 3. It shows that you guys don't have many React apps, because if you have, all these questions will not be coming up. This question I'm meant to be asking you. He said, does the app name have to be classwork?
No,
I should ask you that.
you can use any name for your
I
React
should, I
app.
should, I should really ask. I should really ask, because I know you've been joining the class everywhere, every time you've been joining the class. I know the person. You've been joining. I used to see your comments, so I should really ask you that, because before I started, you can see that I showed you the other apps I have. I have Lita dash app. We not affect our previous work on React. I have my app. No, now it will not affect your previous work on React. We told you guys, we said create more than one application. I said it on Tuesday that we should create more than one application. Thank you. Thank God you can actually do that. It will not affect anything. Create another. I said play with many apps, as many as you can create. Create them, play with them, use them, look around it, and then just try and get familiar with it. This shows that we didn't follow the instruction. That's why we now have many questions to ask in class. I didn't mean we used to follow, like we used to practice. We know it's to practice. We know it's to practice. Why is this taking so long like this? Yes, it can be the same folder. Look at it. When I did see the inside document, I see the inside later React class, and I created another application. They are different applications. It won't affect anything. This shows that we've not been creating. It's only one React application each and everybody has. Because this question that what do I do with my npm not running? npm not running. We say share your this thing to the group on Telegram, to the
We can
community on
follow.
Telegram.
They can even follow npm. They can read the npm documentation on how to set it up again.
That's to say. You can also read the documentation as well. That is how our installation takes time. So someone said that let it at least, if it takes time, it's still good. At least you are installing application.
It's
I
network.
expect everybody should have more than one application. Yeah, it's
It's
the
network.
network. It's the network. Oh, because I have different folder for different React. No, you don't have to have different folder for different React app. You can put everything in one folder. Just give them different class name. Then it should be fine. Sorry, I said class name. Just give them different application name. Sorry about that.
How about you let us use your existing
Okay.
app, because this one is taking much longer than we expected. So
Existing application, so we can start.
yeah, I can
Okay,
just
okay, okay,
minimize. Let's use that might help.
okay. Let me see. Okay, I think I have. Yeah, I think I'll use my app. I think my app is also messed up.
No, you can just create.
Because if
Just
you guys don't practice, there's no how you can actually. Yeah, I'll do that now. I'll stop and then go back to.
don't stop it though. Don't stop the installation.
Yeah, sure. I'm not stopping it. I want to move to the next one. How many React apps I have? Sorry. I want to see how many this thing I have here. And see, even me that I'm teaching, I have more than one this thing. I have more than one application. I have more than one application that I'm playing with. Oh, I think I shared. Okay, let me share again. Share again. The tab. What's going on?
You
Hold
can't
on,
see
no.
us.
Finish. Yeah, I'm coming. I'm trying to share my screen and then it's going. Keep going back. Code my app. Let me use my app then. Keep going back and forth. It's also, I think it's also because of the rain today, Sha. That's why the network has been somehow. Okay, so I want to open which okay, let me open this first. Let's see. Ah, it's not coming here. What's going on? I'm trying to share my screen. Share screen.
Let me
Ah,
hold on. Let me use network.
don't share it. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, we're already 20
Ah,
minutes
some
in the
20 minutes here, 20 minutes in. Please share. No, no, my screen is not even like as I'm clicking sharing like this, it's not even going. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, they need to grant you the access to do that.
I'm not even seeing that my own screen is sharing. That's my issue with it now. Okay, the browser can't share your screen. Try capturing a different screen to see if it continues. Okay, let me try and do. Okay, I want to try as much as possible to see if I can share a different screen. So I will check if it's going to continue like this. So that you put the here from BRB. Still not coming up. Please, can you try and share your own screen and see? I can't see anything. Yeah, my I don't know what's going on.
I just tried to share my screen.
Trying to share. Uh, Let me know. Later. Yeah. You're able to share your own. I'm not able to share my own. What's going on now?
No, my screen is not up.
Yeah, your own is up. Your own is up now.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see your own screen. Hey, no, you need my network or what like this. Oh, you know what? I'll do something now. This share screen.
Oh,
It's still the same thing. I'm coming. I want to reload this page. Let me reload this.
all right.
Let me reload it and see.
It's probably his network. So, so part of the thing we are going to be doing a lot in the class today, we are going to be working with hooks, React hooks. And I can remember we've talked about it in our previous class. So we should have an understanding on how hooks work because we are going to be working with functional components, and the hooks we are going to be using is use effects hook. All right, and also in the last class, I walk us through. Okay, I tell us about um, Axios, how and what is Axios, and I explained that it is what we are going to be using to make an API request to fetch data. Also, I tell us about Fetch API. I explained that we can implement the Fetch API using a JavaScript without any library or any framework. But right now, we are working with React. We won't be using the Fetch API. We are going to be using Axios because of some additional and expensive functionalities that Axios provide over using plain fetch API. So let's give David some minutes. I really don't plan this class to go like this. So oh god. All right. Hello everyone. Since David will not be able to come on board with us tonight, I think I will have to go ahead with the class and walk us through everything we need to do and set up. All right. Please let me know if you guys can see my screen. Okay. Um, okay. So I want to create practice.js. I want to create a new component like we normally create the component. So the goal of the component. Hello, can you guys see my screen? Okay. So now, so we're going to create a new component. Name it function practice. And the goal of this component, can you all see my screen very well? So things we want to achieve with this component, I want to list it out for us to see. So we want to be able to display list posts and also create new posts, right? So now let me just give us a display practice component. So this is what we want to achieve today. We want to build an application to list posts and also add more posts. So now this component, we need to export it. I believe everybody still remember how to do this. Default practice. So now we will now come back to our index.js. So this is where we list the components practice. So if I go to the browser, and I refresh it, Okay, this is what I'm missing. Okay. I believe we understand what fragment component is in React. So you can only do this if you want to return multiple things inside your React component. So this is it. Can we all see this? All right. So now the first thing we are going to do is to display the components to list the post. So now I already have a predefined React CSS class already. So I'm going to start by showing us how to do that now. So you can just create a dummy post const post, a dummy array of posts, and list it out. Okay, so let's wrap this with Dave. Put this inside it. So we can now give this a class name of app. So each one post post. So we have this as post. Then we want to list the post. So if you go back to what we have here, the JSON placeholder, let me show us a demo of how the post looks. So if I copy all these posts here, let me copy like 2 posts. So I want to display this dummy post on our React component. So I copy the dummy post. Now I paste it here. Let me explain what I did. So the JSON the default JSON placeholder, this data, can we all see the URL? JSON placeholder. So I want to work with the post data. So I click on this post to get a dummy data. I want to copy the dummy data. So this dummy data is what I want to use to display on the UI before turning it to the actual data. So now this data over here, I want to display it on the web browser. So all I need to do is just come over here. I want to define it in a list object. So now I can now check the post. It should be plural, post dot map. Can we all still remember what map is in JavaScript? So so we can now have our li to display what it is. Post, if I do post title now, I display this. If I go back to the web page, this is what I have. Post title. Can we see this? Post title. Okay. So now I want this post title to show what we have here. This post to show what we have here. So if I turn this to BBC News, and I turn this to CNN news. So now if I come over here, what we have inside these objects is what we are looping through over here. Now, what we can just do is turn this to instruct this to get the data from p dot title. The title key is what we have inside the objects of post array. I don't know if you understand what I mean by that. Can we all see that? Do you all understand what I'm saying? Um, Hello, can you guys understand what I'm explaining? Okay, should we carry on? Okay, so what I did is that I create a component, a dummy component, like an empty component called practice. Then I define an array of posts, that is collections of posts. So inside the collection of posts, we have posts. That is, this array is holding multiple posts. So now the structure of the post is what we have here. We have a user ID, the user that creates the post, the ID of the post, the title of the post, and the description of the post. Do you understand? Now, I now created, so now we now have this as an array and we want it to display on the web page. So what we need to do is that we loop through the data using JavaScript function called map. Okay, so right now, this is just a data I created out myself. This data is just a dummy data. So I can name this ID of 2 or ID of 3. And this one, I can rename this to liter. Okay, I can call this incubator hub news. So incubator hub news is another entity inside the array, another object inside the array. Do we get? If I go back to the web browser, I will have this on the web page. Can we see? Incubator news. I can still add more to the data. I can add more to the data. Sodiq data. So this is just an array that I loop through. If I don't want to use map, I can use another JavaScript function to loop through it. But let us use map. Map is what we can use here. That is best for us to use right now. I don't want us to If you want to learn more about loop, you can go. Part of the things we've done in the previous class is JavaScript control structures. So do we all understand? Do we all understand? So this thing is a build up of what we've been teaching in the previous class. Is a build up of what we've been teaching ourselves in the previous class. Do we get? All right. So now I can now add the data to display the details that the body of the post. Okay. So let me add the post body. H2 post body, and can I add the paragraph of p dot body. Now if I refresh the web page, this is what we have. Can we all see this? Can we see? Can we see that? Can we all see? So what we have is that I define an array of the data, the structure of the data we want. List of posts. Can we see? List of posts. I define it, array of objects. Then I loop through the array of objects and display it. See the line of code I make it up. Just simple line of code. It's not much. So now, I hold on. I did not. Okay, I copied the data right, but let me just delete this. So I think you guys did not understand something. You guys think the way I copy it is, I think that's the issue. Now I'm working with empty data now. Can we all see? Empty data, no data, no data, no data. I define an empty array. Now let's add data into it ourselves. Objects, you add data to it. What do we want to have in it? I want to have an ID. I want to have an ID. I want to have title. Title of the post. Can we all see? I'm doing this one after the other without copying the code from anywhere. Maybe that's what is convincing you guys. Title. What else do we need for the post? We need body for the post. Body for the post. So if I had one over here, title, if I put punch news, if I in the body, if I put punch daily news, get your news paper now, or visit our website to get the daily news updates. Can we all see this? I'm writing this now. So if I go back there and refresh the web page, this is what we get. You define the dummy data, feed it to the components. Can we all see this? Define the dummy data, feed it to the components. Even I can make this data, copy this data out of here, pass it as a props, pass it as a props, and pass it here. I believe you understand all those things we talked about that time. And pass it here. Like this. Where is the practice? Can we all see that? I'm passing that data into the components as a props, as a property. So this is the component. This is the component, what make up the component. How many line of code? 20 line of code. Now, this data is coming outside of the component, defined outside of the component, and is being injected into the component like this. And we see if that is what is convincing us. I don't want us to be convinced. Convince us. I don't want it to convince us. All right. So we cannot duplicate this data. Let me take the data back into the components because it's very easy like that. I don't believe all of us are still having issue with understanding how this component works, because after several classes we've had, we shouldn't be dragging ourselves back like this. So that's it. It's very simple. Now, the goal for today is to let this data we are displaying on the component, this data, this dummy data, we should fetch the data from this website, this JSON placeholder. This data, the data should come directly from this website. From this website, this post, where you are not the one that do this, the data should come from this website. It should not be a static website. The data should come from here. We want to fetch data the same way we fetch data on the website. When you visit the website will make an API request. That's what we want to do now. So now, to be able to do that, I told us that we need to use, okay, let us use fetch API, because I think everybody is confused about how all right. So now this data now, where is the data? This data, we need to define it as a state, because we need the state to we want data to make an API request, and the components make an API request and set the data inside the state. So that's where use state comes in. So now if I comment this, Let me cut it. Now we are going to define a use state const post. You define the and set post. Now it's what we use to hold the value of this post. We set it to an empty array by default. Now, when we want to set post, when the component mounts, the moment the components load, the moment this component load, we want the component to save and store the data inside. So this is what we're going to use to set the post. Hello, David. Can you mute yourself?
Yes, yes, I can talk. Yeah, I'm here.
You can unmute yourself.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I said you can mute yourself. There's a background noise coming from your side.
Okay.
All right. All right. So now we have the state. We use the use state to define the data we want to set, which is an empty array by default. The moment the components load, data will be empty by default. Now we want to fetch the post when the components load and save it with set post function. So this set post, we save the data and turn this post from empty array to the data we set to it. All right, so let us quickly implement that. One thing I said the other time is that we are going to use a function, a hook called useEffect. So now this is what will happen. So instead of making the API request now, I want to set the data, this post, Ctrl X, this post, I put it inside the useEffect. Now set the post using set post. Set post to set this post. Can we all see that? Now, if I refresh the web page, the data is there. All right. Okay. There's a bug there. The dependency of the use effects. Okay. So this is what we have. I really want us to understand what we are doing here, honestly. Dot ID. All right. So now we are still doing the same thing, just that we now pass the data inside the hook. So every time the component load, by default, is going to perform this operation. All right. So now our goal for today is to turn this static data, we should turn it to a dynamic data that comes from another resource, whether it's from a database or from another server. But today we are going to use it, we are going to call the data from another server, which is JSON placeholder data. All right. So let me show us what we have there. Now, I'm checking the comments.
Yes, you don't have to have the data. You can create the data yourself. Somebody asking, sir, we don't have the data you copied. So following you will be hard. You don't have to
Oh,
have the data. You can create the data yourself. Do you get?
I
You can create
just did that myself again. I created the data myself. I did not copy it from anywhere. I created the data myself. This is it. This is an empty data over here. Pay attention to the class. I created an empty post. I did that the other time. Empty array. Empty. The web page will be empty. But the moment you specify data inside the array, you specify data into the array yourself. You post data into the array yourself. This is it, title. I did not copy it. I only copy it just because I want to use it to explain. But now I've done this like 3 times now, feeding this data myself. First post. I'm only doing this again. Can we all see? I'm coming. Okay. Body on BBC news data. Can we all see? I did not copy the data. You can create an empty data. You can create a dummy data yourself. The goal is to understand how passing the data around the component works. Can we see? Can we get that? I did. Can we see? I paste the data now. Create this. This is like the third time I'm doing this. Creating the data, crafting it myself. Create an empty array. Populate the array with the data. But the goal we want to achieve today is populating this empty array with data coming from another server. You are making an API request to fetch the data. All right. So let me focus on that again. So I'm going to create. So before we do that, so inside this effect, I'm going to create a function const, a function that fetch the post, a function that will fetch the post. Okay. So now what is this function going to do? This function is going to fetch the post and set it. All right. So um, so if an error happen, I'm trying to catch the error over here. So what I'm doing here, we have something we call exemption handling. Exemption handling. Exemption. Basically, exemption in programming. That is, you want to, when an error happens, you catch the error. So exemption handling. So we have something called try and catch. Over here is where you are going to try, do any operation you want to perform. And this place is where you catch the error. Okay, so if you follow the documentation we have here, they use a fetch API for this. So that's something we are going to be doing now. So we are going to do const post.
And also the has to go break to
Eh? What do you
break,
say?
break.
The break. Let me populate this first so we can have the break after. All right. So we can go to JSON placeholder, JSON placeholder, and follow the API we have there, the post API. So you can copy the post API, the URL, Don't copy the data or the URL. So when you post the data here and the API here, can we all see? Let me zoom my screen so everybody can see it. HTTPS JSON placeholder dot typecode.com/post. Can we see that? So if we do this, let me log it console.log to the console. If I console.log this data now, you will see that this data, the same thing we have here, is what we are going to see in our console.log. Okay, so we need to execute the fetch post. This fetch post is what we need to execute here to run. That's it. Can we see that? Can we see? Console post dot data. All right. It's on the fine. I'm coming now. Const response. Let's do this. Response const data equals to response dot JSON. Um, I'm coming. Oh, you guys should give me a minute. All right. Yeah. Voila. This is the data. So when we make an API request to get this data, I don't want us to be confused. Can we see that? We make an API request. We create a function fetch post, that make API request to JSON placeholder, and we put it inside the use effect. So we are instructing that every time the component load, it should trigger this use effect. Anything we have inside this use effect. And what we have inside this use effect is that we want to call an API from JSON placeholder to fetch post. So we make the API to get this data, convert data to a JSON, and log it. And that's what we have here. So this data that we have in our log is what we are going to pass to the component to show on the web page. So let us go for the break. So it's just 10 minutes break. We should be back very soon. So by then, we are going to populate it. Thank you very much. Yeah, hello. Yeah, we're back. We are back. No, we are back. Oh, can you guys hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. I don't think they can hear me. Come on. I really want us to wrap up all these posts
All
and
these things, right? Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
post and creating a
That's true.
post.
That's true. That's true.
And I want them to read. They should read up more on all these things. They should practice on their own. We've been coming to class every time and they keep asking questions like we're just doing it for the first time.
I'm surprised though. Even with the
Um,
is the components that I'm more surprised about. When you're working with the component the other time and then they were not able to get some part of it.
it's not supposed to be like that. And we have to move fast. When we get to Node.js now, because we have a lot to cover in Node.js. We are going to be working with Node.js, understanding database, working with um, all these cloud providers, because those are the things I have in plan for, for the
For
back
Node.
end. Yeah, they should be able to understand how databases work. We are going to work with different
Uh,
data, understand how to use catch, which is probably Redis, and also queuing system, RabbitMQ, all those things. So we need to move fast.
uh,
Um, are they back?
yeah, I think they are back. They are back. I think
I
they are
don't think,
back.
I don't think my screen is live. Oh.
Your screen is live. I can see your screen. It's live.
You can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
All right.
Your
Okay.
screen is live.
Let us continue. All right. So now, when we make the API request, this is what we have here. We make the API request, and the data is here. Now, the goal now is to set this data as it is. We are going to set it into the post we define in the state and display it over here. The moment we set this data to this post, it's going to display by itself. Do you understand? I'm not getting feedback. Oh. All right.
Please
So,
let's give feedback so we know what's going on. So we know if we have any issue with it. Let's give feedback, please. Let's
so
give feedback, please.
set post to data. So in order to do that, this is what we have. Can we all see that? The post is coming directly from the API. It's not the data we created in our file. This post is coming from the API. So let me check. Let me do something. I think we have the ID. Okay. Let me add ID of the ID to show us the ID of the post. Yeah. Can we see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All the data we have inside the post. Let me put break over here. All right. So that's that. Now, the goal now is to create a component whereby we can add to this post. Do you understand? Let me we need to give a feedback to understand that. Now we've been able to display the post. We now want to add to it. Like, you can create all the text, you create a text box, you create a button, you create a form, you submit the form, and you add to the post. Do you understand? Okay, so let us quickly do something. I want to do something. Practice the CSS. I think I have it here before. All right. So let us do this.
I think they wanted to zoom your VS Code a bit.
I should zoom it.
Yeah, a bit.
All right. Okay. How about now? Is it clear? You should check the code. Is it clear? Is it clear? Can you see it very well? Hmm?
Sorry.
All right.
I can see it very well before. I can see it very well before too, and it's clear now.
Okay. So now let us define a form over here. So we have the post there. So we're now going to have the form. The form here. So I believe we still remember all the HTML for form and the functionalities we get from form that time. So we define a div to hold the data of the for the form. We have a label. We define a title for it. We define an input. We still remember what input, how to set up input box. We define a type for it, type of text. Also, we let me check this. All right, that's fine. That works. So after this, I'm going to define another div to hold the body, so we can duplicate this body, right? That's what we have. Then we can now define. Okay, I think we should turn this to a text box because we understand that this is going to be where they write the post post details. And if you want to create a post or a blog, the body of the post is normally much. All right. So what do we had next? We had a button. We still remember what button is and how to define a button. Add posts. The type. We can define the type for it. So you submit. It's going to be a type of submit. And also, we should remember that the form, we can add a lot of things to the form. Like we put ourselves through the other time. We define an inbuilt inline JavaScript to hold the functions we want the form to do the moment you submit the form. So now, what is going to happen is that we are going to define a function that will execute the moment we submit this form. So how are we going to do that? It's very simple. All we need is just create it over here. First, undo the submit. So when you do this, the undo the submit function is what we pass into submit, just like that. Then one more details. One more details. We remember that when we are doing that JavaScript that time in the previous class, I remember I'm the one that taught take the class. I walk us through something called e dot prevent default. Can we still remember the functions of this e default? Is to prevent the form from reloading. So if I cancel this now, I I pass data into this, post it to Chelsea News. Chelsea weekend news. So now, if I click on this now, we should focus on the browser. The browser is going to reload and all the text we have here is going to clear. Can we see that? The web browser will reload. But the moment we put this .e prevent default, it's not going to allow the browser to reload anymore. Chelsea News. Chelsea weekend news. The moment you do this, it's not going to reload. Can we still remember that function? All right. So now, what's going to happen? What we will do is that we are going to define something. We can get all the functions. Let me show us something. Console.log e. So when we log this value now, all the value we input into the text box, we can get it from that place, right? But we are not going to use that method. Can we see all the functions over here? Okay. All right. All right. This is what we are going to do. This is what we are going to do. The text box, we are going to add the function to the text box. Let me show you something. We still remember the inline JavaScript, right? E. So we can console.log. It's not going to okay. Console.log the value, text value. Every time it change, you log it. Can we see that? So now, what I will just do is e dot target dot value That's what I want to log. So the moment you type this Chelsea, you see all the value that is changed every time. Now, we now need to define a state to hold this function. I'm coming, type name, title, I'm coming, name, body. If I console.log this, I'm coming, oh, please bear with me. I want to show something. All right. So now we need to define if a state to hold both the title and the body. Please, are we all paying attention in this class?
Because I'm also not seeing people's response for like
Honestly,
3 days now. I'm not seeing the response.
I want them to know that I want to be sure that we still have people in this class. All right. So we define the title and a state to set the title. Use state to hold the value because it's going to be an empty value when we do that. So we also need to do for the body, set body empty. It's going to be an empty value. Now, every time we made a change on this text box, the moment anytime the value change, we need to update that value. So when we want to reference the text, all we need to do is just reference the text, the title we set in the hub. So what we are going to do here is that set title to this, the value. Anytime you make a change to the text box, help me save it into this title. So if I want to pick what is being typed into the text box, all I need to do is just call this title. Do you understand? So let me do something like that. So now, if you console.log title. So we are going to see what will happen now. If I refresh this page, if I type Chelsea weekend news. So now, if I add post, can we see that Chelsea weekend news? How do we how, how do we able to do this? How are we able to do this? Because we define a title and we set title parameter and a use state to hold it. So by default, when this page load, when this component load, this title is going to be an empty string. But anytime we type into these inputs on change, do we still remember that JavaScript function on change? Anytime this thing change, set the value to the title, set title. And when we want to pick it, we pick it from here. All right. I really want to believe we all understand this title. So we are going to do the same thing for the text area, which is where we do the body, we input the body. So on change, set body, target dots. David, please let me check the chat. If they have any questions, you can help me attend to them.
Yes. There's no question for now.
All right. Now, what are we going to do now? We already have the data we need. Console.log title and body. So this is it. If I log this web page now, Chelsea news, Chelsea weekend game news. If I have this now, can we see that we have the body, Chelsea weekend news, and also the title, Chelsea news. Can we all see that? Now we need to post, we need to send this data to the server, that is to the database. We are going to make an API request to add this data to this post. Now, what are we going to do next? We are going to make another API request that will send that data to database where this API, which this data comes from, and populate it again. Simple. So how are we going to go about that? The same method we use over here is the same thing we are going to do. Let us pay attention here. So we fetch the API. We can now define, let me show something so that we can understand. You can open, for reference, I want to show us something now. I want to show us the what's it called? The JavaScript fetch API, on how to use the fetch API for posts. You know what we've been doing since morning is get method, but now we want to do post. All right. This is what we're doing. When you do the fetch API, you define the method you want, which is the post. That's it.
I hope you guys can see it now. He went online. He went to the documentation to check something from there. So don't limit yourself to the video alone. You can also make research as well.
All
Do
right.
you get? You can see what just happened now. Uh,
So now what we are doing here, we are doing get method. I want us to understand one thing. When we are working with API, we have different type of API method. API method. We have get, we have post, we have put and patch. Put, patch. Okay, don't let me put it together because they are separate. They perform different operation. And we also have delete. Delete. So this one is to get data from database, which is what we are doing here. We are getting this data from the server. Post is to add data. Why put and patch is to update the data in the database. And delete is delete data. Update data and also update data. All right. So now we now have this. You define your method. The data you want to send, how are you going to send it? You define the method. What next? We need to put the data into the body of the API request. So now what are we going to do? All we are going to do now is that we post the data. What next? Body. You define the body and you stringify the body of the data using dot stringify. What are we going to put there? We want to put the title and the body like that. That's all. Now, if you now do this, I want us to see something now. I'm not setting now. So if I now, okay, response, console.log the response. Now, the goal now is to send the data we post, the data we type in this text box, to send it to the server. So now if I refresh this page, I want us to see something here. Chelsea News as the title, Chelsea Weekend Game as the news. So if I had post, can we see what is returning? It's returning the ID. So if you check your network, where is it? Yes, 201. This is it. You check your network. See what we just did right now. We make this API request. We send this API request to the server. Can we see? Request URL, the post, and the post using placeholder typicode.com/post. The method post, the status code we get back 201 created, data is created, and the response we get from it. This is the payload that we send. The payload we send to it. This is the payload, and the response we get back. We get back just 101, the ID of the data. By default, if you check how many data do we have here in the database, we have 100 data. Now we have another data 101, the data we send back. The ID of the data we send 101. Do you understand that? So now we now need to add the data to show over here. All right. So okay, it's returning and it's not returning the whole data. You can just let me refresh this data. Let me see if it's going to come with it. Response. Okay, I will need to populate the data to it. All right, that's not a problem. So what we are going to do now is that we are going to set that data to this post. Let me see if it's going to work the way I want to do it. All right, so set post, we are going to call set posts to array. We are going to spread. We have something we call spread operator. We want to join the data we have previously and the new data. So because it's going to be down, so let me build this like this. So we are going to do this. The ID, we are getting the ID back. So we build it. The ID equals to the data, because this data is coming like this. Is returning the ID. Then what next do we need? We need the user ID. The user ID is 1 by default. Is 1 by default. Then we put the title and the body here. Now, what do we get? Let us refresh the web page. If we refresh the web page, we type BBC news. We had it here, BBC News. We had posts. Mm, mm. Objects with keys ID. I'm coming now. Okay. It's telling us the ID is not valid. Let me try that one more time. Which I know BBC News. All right. So it's now coming. If we check the last post, we have it here. Can we see that? Can we all see that? Okay. Let me add it to the front. We don't have to scroll down and check. Let me remove the ID because we don't need it. But anyway, I want us to pay attention to what we have here. Mm, I want us to see something. BBC News. So we add post. Can we see that? Is now part of the post. What we had is now part of the post. Now, the next thing we need to do is that the moment we add this post, when we click on add, we should clear this body. So now that's the next thing we need to do now. So whenever we add, we should clear the post. Set title, should reset it back to empty. Clear title and body. So set body, we should set it to default. So when we refresh, we had CNN News. We had, can we see that? BBC News. When we had, can we see? Can we all see that? Can we all see that? So that is everything we build today. We build a single page application. Now we can now do something that this post, this practice now, we can separate everything into a separate component. We can also do that, whereby we are going to separate the post and the form to a separate component, and also the post list to a separate component. I will leave that for us as an assignment. We should go and implement that on our own. Move this form to a separate component, the form list to a separate component, whereby on this post now, on this practice page, all you are going to have, you are going to have two components. The components will be like this: practice form and practice list. This is what I'm expecting we should have. Just these two components on practice. Just this. So I will give that to us as an assignment. We should go and figure out how to do that. So That will be the end of our class for today. And I really want us to ask any questions that we don't understand.
Please let's ask our question though, because I think the next class is going to be like more of back end, right? If I'm not wrong. If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Okay, so please ask your question now. And I believe everything that has been done tonight, I'm not even expecting everybody to get it all at once. You have to sit down with it, digest it, and understand it. If you don't sit down with it, and next week you now start asking questions, that's very bad from your end. That's very bad from your side. So it's better for you to sit down with it now, like from now till then. Sit down with it now, watch the video again over and over again. So it will actually help you. It will help you. So please watch the video over and over again. And if you have any question now, please ask, because I've mentioned a lot of things here, and there are some parts that I know that would be difficult for us. Please let us ask our question now, because it's going to help the class move faster. So that him too will not be, one thing is, the moment he starts repeating himself, the whole thing of taking the class smoothly we just go. Like the other time that he declared data like 3 times, that's actually bad, because he declared the data, and again he had to come and write the data again. Please, let's just focus on whatever he's doing. Let's just focus on it so as well. And like this now, we are saying you should ask questions. Nobody's asking questions. I don't know. Please ask your question. He's here. Oh. Ask your question. He's going to answer you. What's your question? Don't answer my question. What is your question? Just type it again so you can see it. Okay. So since there are no questions, I guess this is actually where we are going to be stopping for today. Yeah, this is where we are going to be stopping for today. So see you guys. That should be next week. Yeah. See you all next week. I don't know. So do you have anything you want to like let them like for them to do?
No, actually, I don't have anything right now. They just need to like go back to all our previous class and make more research, check documentation, practice more, build more React projects, build more. There are millions of articles, projects, PDFs you can do. You can lay your hands on.
Okay, cool. And also, the backend we are starting to, you can also read more about it so as well. So, at what point does the catch error display? Okay, someone is asking, at what point does the catch error does it display?
All right. It's this. Can you guys still see my screen?
No,
Let
no,
me
we
more.
can't see your screen. We can't.
Eh. How about now? So when the project fail, the API request can is my screen up?
Not yet. Not yet.
All right, so let's give it a minute. It should be up anytime soon. Is
Okay,
it
it's
up?
up now.
All right.
Yes.
Now, what we display over here is that when this is successful,
Then
it
conference
will
pass.
exit. But this error
And
now, whenever any issue happens there, maybe it's an API invalid API request. For example, now if I try to mimic that now to show invalid error, now I expect that this URL we pass into this API is invalid API request, right? All this code will not execute. I'm expecting this line of code, this error, catch error should execute. So if I check my web page, where is the console? So that this is what happened. It's catching the error. Try and catch. I'm coming. Let me. So that's it. It's not going to work. Let me even try. Console.log.
Oh, I guess you explained it the other time now. You explained
Yeah.
it that if any error happened during the fetch process, the error is going to go into your cache. That's just the basic difference. Like
Yes.
say if you make mistake, probably the endpoints you are fetching. I mean, when I say endpoint, I mean the link. Maybe you wrote placeholders, or if the link is wrong or
Can we,
something happened,
can
the link,
we see
it
that?
will go to catch error.
This is
Ehen,
it.
good.
Can we see? This is what happened. The catch error. It will throw. So now, for example, this set post is not correct. It's invalid. But I'm trying to let me do this one more time. It should also throw over here. Can we see that? It's true. If any error, if anything break in the try block, this is try block. This is what we call try block. Try block, and we have catch block. Catch block. We also have finally. Finally, if anything happen, you can also have catch block, the final block. So if anything happen here, it happens here, execute this one. So you can check exception handling in JavaScript. Exemption handling is basically a process or methods of handling exemption in every programming language. It's not limited to JavaScript alone. It's a method on how to handle error. You just need to understand what you are doing, the flow of the application. You can check this place or check W3 school. Okay, I think W3 school, yeah, JavaScript, catch error and throw. Can we see? Throw and try catch. Finally, we have try catch, finally, and throw. So just read it up and see the try block of code you want to execute, the block of code to undo the error, which is what we implement. So you can read up on it and understand more, because it's going to help and save us a lot of stress. By default, we can run this project without actually using try catch, but to finally let us understand the error we are getting. So now see, when we run this project now, there's no proper way of handling error here. You can't understand what the error is. But the moment we implement the try catch, we can get it. So that's all. All right. I think that's all on my end. Any more question?
This die one already though.
All right. Any questions we have, we should drop it in the class group. All right. Thank you very much, and we should enjoy the rest of our weekend. Yeah, maybe good night.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much. So see you guys next week.